superstars last few years and interview some people close to him for the same. Thus started my journey to unravel the enigma that was Rajesh Khanna. Early next morning, 19th July 2012, I was sitting at the ABP News guest house in Ville Parle, watching the coverage as all the news channels got ready to cover Rajesh Khanna's funeral procession. On an impulse, I decided to be a part of it. The procession seemed to be a massive affair, a ceremony befitting a king. The fact that it was raining only enhanced the sense of tragedy, as though the heavens were sharing in the grief of the crowds who followed the funeral procession. Mumbai had cleared its roads to make way for the superstar's final journey. As I walked shoulder to shoulder with his many fans, their sorrow acutely sharpened in the rain, I couldn't help but wonder how the city must have treated Rajesh Khanna in the early days. I was struck by how many people in the procession did not seem to be a part of the film industry. They seemed to be lost in the memories of a bygone era, a time when they were young and very much in love, an era when Rajesh Khanna gave words and expression to that love in his own inimitable way. On that day, the final passing of their hero perhaps made them feel more keenly that, like him, their youth would never return. I felt like saying a final goodbye to him, said 64-year-old Surjit Singh Chhabra, an NRI from Vancouver, when I tried to speak with the people around me. I asked Surjit if he had known the superstar personally, and he replied, smiling, "Oh yes, I spent a lifetime with him through his films and songs. I was struggling in my life in the 70s, and he was a balm for everything sad happening in my life." I thought this was a bit too melodramatic and mushy. But as I spoke to more and more people, I found that many of them were equally emotional or sentimental in their responses. A lady from Bengal claimed she was his biggest fan. She added, "You will not be able to understand what he meant to me." Now, times have changed. But back then, going for a Rajesh Khanna film was like going on a date with him. No matter whom he romanced on screen, I always felt that I was the one he was really in love with. Yes, I could not relate to her point of view, especially since I had never been witness to the zeitgeist of Rajesh Khanna's popularity in the 1970s. But from the frenzy I personally witnessed that day at the funeral procession, it was clear that Rajesh Khanna was a giant in terms of the sheer magnitude of his fandom. This intense devotion from his fans made me all the more curious. What charm did this man possess that no one has matched before or since? What was it that made him such a phenomenal success? And how did he come to lose it all, spending the last years of his life in relative obscurity? What had transpired in the journey from superstar to forgotten star? A quirk of destiny that only his death could revoke? Honestly speaking, Rajesh Khanna had almost been a long-running joke for the people of my generation. Movie folklore was dominated by many stories of his eccentricity, his temper tantrums, his seemingly absurd refusal to accept that his heyday was over, as well as the inevitable comparisons to the megastar Amitabh Bachchan. In fact, it was often said in jest that Rajesh Khanna's biggest problem in life was that he wasn't Amitabh Bachchan. However, Khanna himself claimed to be the reference point for Amitabh Bachchan. Many said Rajesh Khanna could not handle his stardom, while others said he couldn't handle failure. For many, he was the incandescent star who did epic films like Amar Prem, Anand, Avatar, and for others, he was the aging actor who did small-time television roles